Rogue is bad. Like, shockingly bad. I think it's easy to forget that just 2 years ago, Rogue won the 2022 Summer LEC Championship with 2 of the 5 players that are still on this roster. Rogue used to be the consistent best of 1 champions with 13-5 and 14-4 first place finishes, split after split after split. Like 4 or 5 regular splits in a row. They were also consistently finishing 2nd and 3rd in the playoffs, which at times was comically disappointing, but despite all that, they were still undeniably a top 3 team in the LEC every single time. And so finally, after winning summer of 2022, I, like many others, thought the curse had officially been broken, that finally winning a championship might usher Rogue into a new age, where Rogue would be legitimate title contenders and might even go for back-to-back championships come 2023. I mean, as of summer of 2022, all 5 members of Rogue were still under contract until the end of the following year. However, Rogue unfortunately would sell a portion of their LEC spot to the Spanish organization KOI, an org who came into the league with the intention of spending less. That is like nails on a chalkboard for me and any other competitive fan who wants to see Europe and the LEC thrive. Hearing that this championship team, with none of them having their contracts up or being on super team salaries, it made KOI's decision to bench Odoamne after winning a championship all the more puzzling. This, along with some other slimy things that orgs are known to do, is something I will go in depth on in a future video about the LEC and their inability to compete internationally. But just as a preview, KOI did some slimy shit where they didn't tell other teams that Odoamne, the 7-year veteran, the player who just finally won an LEC for the first time in his career, was now going to be on the market. G2 could have considered Odoamne. Vitality could have considered Odoamne. Mad Lions could have considered Odoamne. Great teams that would have benefited from having him on their roster. But instead, they only allowed him to speak to bottom tier teams like XL, which is where Odo ended up going, and we all know how that worked out. I know it can't possibly be this one single change that made the Rogue KOI 2023 run completely collapse. But with Odoamne replaced with Shigenda, KOI would end up placing 7th in the winter and spring regular seasons. And despite a 3rd place finish in the winter playoffs, they would only place 6th in the spring playoffs. Then, in an absolutely unacceptable move, they trade Trimby for Advienne? I can't even fathom why they would do this. Trimby was still under his rookie contract that he signed with Rogue 2 years before then. My only thought is that Fnatic had to pay a premium to complete the trade, but even still, what the fuck? Trimby was and is still considered to be a top 3 at least support in the LEC. When he joined Fnatic, they went from placing 8th in spring to placing 3rd in summer and 2nd at the LEC season finals, with even amongst the team themselves, a lot of them attributing the newfound success to Trimby. Razork spoke to how much Trimby was such a vocal part of dictating the game, and that allowed Razork to play his game better, and overall, it was just like a perfect storm of success. Even now, it feels like KOI was intentionally sabotaging Rogue and their legacy. Literally inting the LEC. It's crazy. KOI with Advienne would place 8th in summer of 2023. To add to the untrue but ultimately very funny conspiracy that KOI was sabotaging Rogue, they would ultimately sell their portion of Rogue back to them only 1 year of working together. They would then instead go on to combine with Mad Lions to create Mad Lions KOI. And although I do believe in the Mad Lions mission of bringing up these 4 hand-selected rookies by El Yoya, as well as the coaching staff, to create this roster that is truly trying to win worlds, I think it is awfully convenient that a roster of 4 rookies would probably be pretty dirt cheap to sign, especially when they all want to work together. Anyway, that all brings us to Rogue in 2024. Shigenda top, Malrang is replaced by Marcoon, which I saw as a potential upgrade, Larson, Comp, and Zoalise. Zoalise being the rookie of the offseason. He literally had an article written about him calling him the French prodigy, yet somehow he did horribly. This is like Seiken levels of bad. I feel like Rogue and Zoalise flew under the radar because of the shitstorm that was Carmine Corp this year. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but it is really bad how disappointing Zoalise's performance in the LEC so far has been. Rogue finished 9th in winter and would replace Shigenda with Finn. This was like a side grade to a potential upgrade, but funny enough, Shigenda joined Koi, being known for a more carry style of top lane, and was supposed to play that until the season started and things started to move too quickly, and Shigenda had to default to the typical weak side top lane that Europe is known for. So my fear is that Finn joining the team is going to eventually just be more of the same, with him starting out as a carry top laner, but over time the team deciding that it would be best if he was just weak side and they focused through bot or something like that. And ultimately, whether Finn played carry tops or tank tops, Rogue would end up in 9th place again in spring, despite winning one more game than they did in winter and playing a tiebreaker that they would ultimately lose. Rogue is not making any changes going into summer, and in a way, I think that's a positive. I don't really like Europe's knee-jerk reaction to make changes if they make even a slightly disappointing run in just one split. Add to that I think this new LEC format is just horrendous and way too short to really know what a team is capable of. Not to get too off topic, but even Carmine Corp I don't think would have faltered as hard if they had a former LEC regular season to actually get better across 8 weeks. So I am hopeful that this team will do better. I like Larson and Comp because at least at one point they were both great EU talents. And I want to see great EU talent do well in the LEC. I really like Finn, and despite his volatile performances, I think he is a really great player and personality to have in the LEC, and I think under the right circumstances, he is capable of solo carrying games at times. Marcoon is oof. He was another player who was promising for like 2 years, but now he is on what I think is fair to say his most talented roster by far, and he is completely non-existent. And I feel bad, by the way. I don't like spreading hate or shitting on players. I actually really like Marcoon as a player and personality as well, and I would like to see him do well, but I was really surprised and disappointed by his performance this year so far. And finally, Zoalise. I really want to see this guy be the French prodigy. Funny enough, with the way things are going with the amount of imports that EU has seemingly been bringing in year after year, I unfortunately wouldn't be surprised if after another disappointing performance by Comp and Zoalise, they don't get replaced by an Eastern bot lane completely. And that would be super disappointing. Comp and Zoalise are both great EU talents, and it would be a shame to just give up their spots to a Korean bot lane and support. But then again, if they can't figure things out, I don't know what to say about that. I think it's really telling that Comp has not been able to find success, especially ever since Trimby left. I feel like towards the end of the split, and really all of spring, I think Rogue showed a little more promise than they did in winter, so I think they could maybe squeeze out an 8th place finish come summer. The thing is, the teams that shared the bottom of the LEC with them, aka Carmine Corp and SK, both of these teams made radical changes that I think are going to make them significantly better. So unless Rogue has done a lot of soul searching and rebuilding and establishing a lot of fundamentals, I worry they are actually just going to completely fall behind based on these bad teams that used to be at the same level with them simply getting better. My sarcastic Hail Mary prediction is they place 8th in summer, they replace Comp and Zoalise with an Eastern bot lane, which is such a brand new idea that nobody's ever done before. I think they might replace Marcoon, maybe get Inspired back. That would be pretty cool. But otherwise, those are my predictions for Rogue. Let me know in the comments what you think about Rogue as a team, and if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said so far in this video. This is a part of a longer series where I'm going to be doing a individualized video for every single team in the LEC. So if that's something you're interested in watching, please do subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because everything that you guys do does support the channel as well. And of course, a shout out to my patrons, RBZZ, or VZ, as I like to call him so lovingly, and Bob Bulaman. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and my content. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos in particular. If any other one of you guys watching this video want to support me on Patreon for just a few bucks, that would mean a whole lot to me, and it would help me create these videos that I hope you guys love as well. But obviously, everything you guys do, from likes and comments to just a simple subscription, are all incredibly helpful on this journey. So no matter what, please do hook me up. And I'm pretty sure on Patreon there's a free membership you guys can join, which you just don't get a shout out at the end of the video, but you do get to get any fun updates and kind of like community posts and things like that. And we'll work on it. It's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are ready for tomorrow's video, where we're gonna cover another team that I don't even know who it's gonna be yet. Peace out.